Give me 72 hours and I'll show you how I sold out an online course without ads, fancy funnels, or complicated tech. All I did was use simple posts, direct messages, and a clear follow-up rhythm that anyone can do. Hey lovely, I'm Dr. Kara. I have built multi-million-dollar programs for billion-dollar companies, and I have sold multiple six-figure online courses for my own business. Recently, I just sold out an online course that I just built, have never launched before, and I did it in 3 days without ads or fancy funnels. The sales for this course came from a 3-day launch window that I had planned just the week before, and basically just doing thoughtful human outreach. In this video, I'll give you the 7-step playbook that I used to sell out my online course in 3 days. So if you're a busy entrepreneur or business coach that wants sales this week and not just someday, then you're in the right place. I ran the 72-hour launch plan to fill a small cohort of students for an online course. So think 10 students without ads. And all I did was use a simple one-pager and friendly DMs. If you've been posting into the void on social media or still perfecting your website but still haven't gotten any sales, you're probably missing the 2 levers that actually drive sales: a short, loud launch window and personalized outreach. So by the end, you'll have a mini launch in a box: your timeline, your 3-day post cadence, your warm DM script, and a follow-up matrix that you can run this week. All right, let's get to it. Here's the 7-step playbook. First, we need to talk about launch versus outreach. So think of the launch as a one-to-many broadcast. In other words, you're letting the world know that you have something to sell. In this case, you would create a 72-hour window announcing to your audience, whether it's through email, social media, or any other channel where you have a following, and basically tell them that for 3 days, you're going to be offering something, and then that's it. This 72-hour doors open window is what creates that sense of excitement, announcement, and intrigue for your audience. We want to create awareness about your product that you're about to launch, but we also want to create a sense of urgency. Because here's the thing, if you want to sell out fast, you need people to have a reason to buy fast. So next we have outreach. This is the process where you actually reach out to real humans out in the world and tell them about your stuff. In this case, I did one-to-one direct messages and emails to let people know that I was open for business. So think of it this way. Launch is that big announcement that you have something really cool that you're offering, and outreach is when you talk to people to get them to say yes. Now, if you just cringed a little bit thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get people to say yes to buy my product, don't worry. We're gonna make it super easy for you so you don't have to worry about feeling sleazy or too salesy when it comes to pitching your offer. Believe me, I had the same issue. I was so nervous thinking that I had to actually talk to people about a brand new course that I had never even taught yet. It was nerve-wracking, but if I can do it, then so can you. Step 2, you need to decide on your timing. So there's a couple of ways you can go about this when it comes to launching your online course or your offer. You can sell now and start now. In other words, you drive urgency and say, we are closing doors on Saturday and we're starting on Monday. This is actually the process that I did for my online course. I wanted a really short window to keep the momentum going and the intrigue going with people who were most excited to take my class. But you can also do option B, which is sell now, start later. In other words, you're basically pre-selling your online course and then starting the cohort, let's say in a month or 30 days from now. Regardless of the timing, you want to deliver on a very clear date and let your customers know when the doors open. This can be super effective for a lot of different offers and business types. And if you do go down this route, just keep one thing in mind. You're gonna have to keep your audience engaged while they wait for that window to start. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do this. You can send warm-up emails, you can give them bonuses along the way. Maybe you can have a pre-kickoff call to get to know everyone. There's a lot of ways you can keep the engagement going, but you have to be super proactive because quite honestly, a lot of people might forget that you even have an offer and that they bought it a month ago. So make sure you stay connected and you stay in touch with them if you do the sell now, start later model. Now, there's also option C, which is to sell now and delay a week or two. This isn't as much time as option B with, let's say, 30 days or more, but it's just enough where you might lose a little bit of momentum. This is something that you should do if you need a little bit more time to get your offer or your online course ready to go and make sure it's solid for everyone before you start. It may also just give you a little bit of peace of mind that you have a week of breathing room. Or maybe you have a really busy target audience and they need that heads up time to start so that they can accommodate their schedules to take your online course. I would do this only if you need a little bit of time, but you might lose a little bit of momentum. It's probably better to go with option A, which is sell now and start now, because honestly, a week is not going to make that much of a difference, at least in my experience. Now, if you're thinking none of these timelines feel good, then you might want to take a look and see if you have a firewall running, or maybe you're just hiding behind perfection. And if you need some tips about how to address that, I have a video that talks exactly about that very thing that can help you get unstuck and stop from hiding behind perfection. Step 3, now you're actually going to run the 72-hour sequence. So here's the timing of the 3-day launch window. Now remember, the launch window is when you are announcing to the world that you're open for business, and basically that's when the shopping cart is open for people to actually buy your offer. Once that 3-day window is over, that's it. You shouldn't sell the course again, or at least not in the exact same way that you just did, because that will degrade trust. Now, you can always do it again in the future, but for this specific cohort, you want that 3-day window to be crystal clear and then done. So here's the schedule that I used for my 3-day launch. And spoiler, I actually didn't need all 3 days to sell out my online course. So day 1, in the morning, you are going to open your cart and offer a bonus to purchase your offer. Now, day 1 can literally start any day of the week. This is totally up to you about when you start it. I personally did mine on a Monday morning. I loved this because it gave that start of the week. People are fresh and back from the weekend, and there's some momentum to keep going throughout the week. So on day 1, you might send an email, you might send some direct messages to folks. You basically are letting people know that you have your offer open and available. But here's the thing, now that your cart is actually open, you also are going to drop a bonus when people buy. I really like adding bonuses and extra incentives to my offers because it makes the offer look even better and it increases that perceived value that people have about your offer and what you're going to provide to them. The second time you're going to reach out to people is also on day 1 in the afternoon or the evening. Generally, this should be about 6 hours after you sent that first message or email to your prospects. By this point, hopefully you would have already had a couple of people buy your product. And if that's the case, you can tell them that there are only a certain amount of seats left before you close the doors. This is also when I might unveil a little bit more about what I'm going to be covering in the class itself. If you've already taught this course or offer before and you have testimonials, this is the perfect time to show proof or validation that other customers have gotten a ton of value out of your offer. So you might follow up with another DM and another email showing what's either inside the course that you're creating, or you'll show testimonials of people showing what a great time they had when they took your course. So next is day 2. This is literally the second day in your 72-hour launch sequence. So for me, I did all of these tasks on a Tuesday, first in the AM and then in the PM. So on Tuesday morning, I announced not only that my class was available for purchase, but also I dropped my second bonus. Again, we want to layer in these bonuses to incentivize folks to join and also get them really excited about all the value they're going to get by signing up for your offer. And just like day 1, I also plan to send some other messages in the afternoon. All right, and then on the final day, day 3, this is the last day of your launch window. This is when you're going to send messages that doors are closing in 8 hours or only 2 seats left. Because again, you want to be real and honest about where you are in your launch sequence. It's only going to be open for 3 days or until the seats fill up. This is also a great time to layer in that third bonus. In other words, give an extra incentive for folks to sign up before the checkout window closes. Now, by the time I got to day 3 for my 72-hour window, I had actually already sold out by that morning. So technically I had another 16 hours left in my launch window, but all of my 10 seats were filled. This was such an amazing feeling because I literally woke up that morning and was like, oh my gosh, it's done. Everyone bought. That's so cool. It felt so good. Oh, so good. So what I did in that case is I followed up with all of my prospects, the people I was reaching out to, as well as email, and I said, sold out, but if you're still interested, you can join my waitlist. For waitlist messaging, the reason why I did that was in case someone backed out, like maybe they couldn't start on Monday or they just changed their mind. That way you at least have folks you can reach out to after the fact and get them into the class if someone else drops out. So again, this is the 3-day, 72-hour launch window that you are going to plan and schedule into your life. And for the rest of the steps, I'm going to show you what you need to do next to get ready to actually do all that work. All right, so step 4, build your launch assets. So think of it this way. If you're going to sell something to someone, they need somewhere to go and they need a way to pay you for the thing that you're going to deliver to them. It's not that complicated, but you have to do just a little bit of work to actually get it moving and out the door so people can pay you. Theoretically, I think this could even work if you didn't have a landing page and you could probably just have folks like Venmo you or PayPal you or something, but I don't know. That seems a little more shady. I think it's a little bit more professional if you have a clean landing page where people can go and actually pay for your offer. It not only establishes a little bit more credibility, but you can reinforce the language about what your offer is about, all the cool stuff that they'll get by joining, and, you know, it just looks nice. But here's the thing, it does not need to be complicated. Trust me on that. All you need is a 1-pager sales page that basically talks about what your offer is, how it will make their life better, what they'll get, and, you know, with all the bells and whistles that make it a great offer. So when it comes to building your landing page, there's a lot of advice out there about how to make the perfect optimized landing page, but there's only a couple of things that you really gotta nail to drive sales. First, you need your hero and your subheader. So your hero is that one-liner that describes everything you're doing in your offer. You describe who it's for, or who your avatar is, what dream outcome they're going to get, the specific time frame in which they'll get it, without some kind of objection or pain point, using your proprietary mechanism. So here was my hero. Mystic entrepreneurs, avatar, get 3 to 5 paid students, outcome, in 14 days, time frame, without ads, pain or objection, using my DM, email sprint, and done with you assets. Proprietary mechanism. That's the hero. That needs to be at the top of your landing page in like big, bold, sparkly letters. Okay, well, maybe not sparkly, but you get the point. There's a reason why we call it the hero. When it comes to website design, that's like the most important one-liner. That should be big, bright, bold, so people can read it and see it, because that's what your offer is about. Make it easier for them to see. So the subheader is basically just going into a little bit more detail about what your offer is. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I won't spend a ton of time on this, but basically you just give a little bit more detail about what your offer's about. And my subheader was this. If you follow every step of the process that I give and you still don't get 3 to 5 paid students, I'll fully refund you. No questions asked. All right, now that you have your hero and your subheader ready to go, you need to actually talk about your core offer on your landing page. So this goes into the detail of exactly what you're offering, how you're going to provide it to them, and any other stipulations that you might need to provide. On your landing page, if you have the ability to add testimonials or proof of the results of your work, do it. This is something I wish I had learned years ago, but sometimes we got to learn things the hard way. Unless, well, if you're smart, don't be like me. So if you have proof of people getting results or testimonials, put them on your landing page. If you don't, put up a quick video or step-by-step guide talking about what's inside your offer. People literally want to see like what's inside, like what does the course look like? What do the videos look like? What is it? Because, well, they want to know what they're gonna buy. So put it on your landing page. Make it super easy and clear for them to see. Next, on your landing page, I want you to talk about your 3-step process. you should be able to talk about how you're going to get them from point A to point B, their dream outcome, within 3 steps. It might not be every single step that they do, but those should be the core themes that they're going to go through to have that transformation. It's also important to put on your landing page who your offer is for and who it's not for. This is also something I kind of learned the hard way. You only want really qualified leads to take your offer. In other words, you want the right people as your students, because if you get unqualified people, it's just really hard to teach them. Now, here's the thing. This isn't righteous. This isn't a bad thing. Think of it like education. If you want to get a PhD, you probably should get a bachelor's or master's degree first. And if you want to get a bachelor's degree, you should probably complete high school first. You don't want to put a high schooler in a PhD program. It's just not going to work. Same thing for your business or your online course. So after you've put who your course is for, I want you to add your price anchor. Now, there's 2 things about pricing, tons of psychology around this, but basically you want to start with a higher number first so that people orient themselves to that higher price, and then you reveal what your course is actually going to cost them. That way they'll feel like, oh my gosh, this is such a great deal. This is pure psychology 101 stuff. It's not manipulative. In fact, I'll show you how to do this in a way that's totally resonant and in high frequency. Basically, how you do that is the next time you offer your class, that's the price you give it, and that's what you're going to sell it for. But for now, it's at a lower, cheaper price because, well, you're still figuring out and doing this for the first time. So for my online course, I said that the next time I'm going to teach this, it's going to be worth $997. But this time, the first time I ran it, it was only going to be $149. And here's the thing, that's exactly what I intend to do. The next time I offer this, it's going to be $997. But for now, $149. Pretty good deal, right? The next thing you're going to want to add is some kind of guarantee. Most people will do like a 14-day, a 30-day money-back guarantee if people aren't satisfied, but you can actually get pretty creative with guarantees if you think outside the box a little bit. So what I did for my guarantee is I offered a do the work guarantee. In other words, if you follow every single step that I offer and you still don't get results, I will fully refund you, no questions asked. There's a lot you can do with guarantees. I highly recommend that you add them. A lot of people might worry about having a lot of people ask for a refund even after they've already taken your offer. But here's the thing, most people actually don't do it. And if you're really good and actually provide value to people, then they're probably not gonna want it. They'll enjoy the product you've given them and they'll be satisfied. But if it's something that you're really worried about, even if someone does ask for a guarantee or a refund from the guarantee, just give it to them. It's just not worth it trying to fight tooth and nail not to give them their money back. So if you're gonna put on a guarantee, do it. But make sure it resonates with you if you're gonna do it. The last bit you need on your landing page is some kind of urgency banner, time frame, and a call to action. So with the 3-day launch window, you already have a great sense of urgency with your product. Doors close in 3 days, or you only have 10 seats available, or whatever other constraint you have. And then there should be some kind of call to action like book now, enroll now, sign up today. You can get creative with it, but basically it's a push to get them to buy. So make it compelling and interesting and engaging. All right, so by this point, you should have a plan of how you're going to do your launch, what the timing's gonna be, and you have your landing page ready to go, and now it's time to sell, baby. So if that totally just gave you the cringes, I understand. This part of the process was the most scary for me because, if you're like me, I was conditioned to think sales is really negative and low frequency, but it actually isn't. If you think about it, we live in capitalist society, people are selling stuff all the time, and there's lots of ways to sell stuff in high frequency. And I'm gonna show you how to do outreach and sales in a high frequency way. So step 5, outreach fundamentals. So for this 3-day launch sequence, if you're doing no ads and no funnels, then you're gonna have to plan to reach out to 100 people within that 3-day launch. Now, if you just freaked out, oh my gosh, 100 people, it's okay, believe me. If you're not gonna do ads or funnels, you gotta talk to people in some way. But here's a way to do it that is actually really inspiring and engaging, not only for you, but for them. First, you're gonna focus on connection. At the end of the day, sales, business, all of entrepreneurship is about connection. You are connecting with your audience You want to provide some type of value. They want to connect with you because you provide something that they don't have that they want. So if we really focus all of our effort around that connection and building it out of authenticity, sales becomes easy. So here's how you're going to do it. For your 100 messages that you're going to send in 3 days, you're going to personalize them, all right? You're not going to just cold message people and be like, hey, buy my stuff. No. You are going to actually reach out to these people, look at their social media profile, look at what's going on in their life, and draft personalized messages. Now, if you do the math, if you do, let's say this between 30 to 35 times in a day, you will easily get your 100 messages done in 3 days. Spoiler alert, I didn't have to send 100 messages to sell out my course, but it's a good push to get you to actually start going out into the world, connecting with people, and selling. Now, who do you start with? 100 people could just be anyone. You can actually reach out to 100 people even if you have 0 social media following, which I don't believe you if you say you don't have a social media following, because let's be real, everyone has someone that's following them on social media, okay? But if you don't have a social media following, you probably have one of these, which is a phone. Now, before you start reaching out to 100 random people, I want you to build a warm lead list. In other words, I want you to think of around 10 to 30 people that you know who might be interested in your offer just based off of what you know about them. Because let's be real, not everyone is going to be a perfect fit for your offer, but there are likely some people you know that are really interested if only you would ask. And that's what's going to come next, the asking. Now, before you start reaching out to people, I want you to think of this as a mini 3-touch cadence. This is actually going to match your initial launch that you started with your big announcement. So first, you're going to do an initial outreach and be like, hey, and I'll tell you more about that in a sec. Then you'll follow up 6 hours after that, maybe drop a bonus or share a testimonial, something like that. And then you'll wrap up with a final 24-hour ping or only 1 day left type of message. The mindset here is tiny, kind, and specific. This is way better than massive outreach, cold audience, and just generic. Next, we're going to talk about exactly what you're going to say. Step 6, DMs and emails that actually convert. You start with a personal line. In other words, connect with this person on a human level, like don't be a jerk. Then give them the big fast win that comes from your offer. Talk about the seats, the price, the guarantee, and then end with a question. So here's an example of a direct message that I sent. This isn't the exact DM because I want to keep people's information confidential, but this is literally the script that I used. Hey Jess, loved your latest reel on breathwork. So beautiful. I love what you did. Quick question. I'm opening 10 seats for a 14-day sprint to enroll 3 to 5 paid students without ads. Founder's price is $149. Next price, $997. And if you do the inputs and don't get 3 sales, I refund. Want details? I gotta say, this was freaking gold. And there's a reason why it works. One is that you're starting out with clear connection. So you're establishing that mystical energy of collaboration rather than putting people on the defensive. You're also giving them very clear and specific information about what your offer is. So what's the promise or transformation? What's the time frame? And then how are they going to do it without some kind of thing that they hate doing? In my case, paid advertising. Then you talk about price, you add your anchor so it looks like a really good deal, and then some kind of guarantee, which in my case was do the work, don't get sales, get a refund. Ending with a question is also a really good touch because it puts it on them to respond. And you'll know really quickly whether people are interested or not because they'll either respond or they won't. And it's like you're working at a level of agreement. It's like, hey, are you interested? Yeah, I'm totally interested. Or, nah, I'm good. I'm not really into that right now. Perfect. You don't have to be a jerk. If they're not interested, don't push it. But if they are, you can send them the details and go from there. So here are some follow-up DMs that you can use after you do that initial opening conversation, which, by the way, I recommend that you respond as fast as possible. If people are responding to you, you should respond instantly. Don't delay. I made that mistake by, maybe waiting a couple hours or a half hour. Don't do that. If you reach out to someone, make sure you can respond immediately. But if they don't respond, then the next time you reach out to them will be 6 hours later. This is that 6-hour micro nudge. This is great for people who literally haven't responded at all. One thing I did is this: quick nudge. Hey, bonus number 2 just unlocked. Want me to hold you a seat? Again, this is where bonuses can get really exciting and help incentivize folks to actually sign up for your class. And then there's the final nudge, that 24-hour final window. So you can send a DM like this: final call, bonus number 3 is live, only 2 seats left. Are you in? Now, obviously you can personalize this so it's basically your voice, your personality that's coming through. This is just the formula to give you an idea of what to say. Now, if you're sending email, you're doing the exact same thing. You're just blasting it to many people rather than doing one-to-ones. But it's the same formula. The email will have the same story, a slightly longer body. You don't want to write massive text or tons of paragraphs in a direct message, but an email that's appropriate. And then you follow up with a CTA or a button at the bottom that goes to your landing page. The last step in the playbook is your follow-up matrix. Now, I needed a tracker to keep track of literally everything that I was doing because there was just so much going on. I just couldn't put it all in my head. And it adds a lot of stress and complexity, so keep it simple for yourself. So I created this Notion template that shows who I'm reaching out to, where I'm reaching them out to from. For example, email, Telegram, Instagram. I just stuck to those 3 channels, by the way. You can always do more or less depending on your preference. And then I gave some data about what I shared. So what was the text that I shared? Did I follow up to them? Did they respond? Did they ghost me? Did it lead to a sale? Did they hard decline? All of this is something that you should track because it gives you really good insight into who your audience is, what they like and enjoy, who's highly interested, and who's not. As you're outreaching to people and in your 72-hour launch window, it's really important that whatever you do mirrors what you're doing elsewhere. So whatever you're saying in email should mirror what you're saying in direct messages or in private conversations. This shows consistency across the board because people might actually be in both channels and you want to make sure the messaging is the same, whether you're talking to them privately or they're seeing something in a more public level. As you're doing this, I also want you to track your progress. Make sure you are reaching that goal every day until your cohort is filled or you're sold out. So for me, I made a commitment that I was going to send 25 messages a day. I didn't actually end up sending 25 messages a day because actually I sold out before I needed to, but it was important for me to have that goal. I had to really stretch myself and be like, okay, I'm gonna block off time, I'm gonna message people, here's how I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna document what's going on, and it helped me stay accountable. But it also made me feel really good. It was building this library of proof that people actually want my stuff and want to engage. It was really awesome. And it's also just really satisfying to see like a blank matrix that ultimately gets filled out with people you've talked to and the work that comes from that. It's really cool. At the end of the day, you gotta put in the inputs if you wanna get the outputs. So if you want those 10 paid seats within 3 days, you gotta do the work. But it's actually not that complicated. I know it might sound super scary, but it really isn't. If you have a great offer that you're proud of and you're reaching to people that know you, that's actually one of the best and easiest ways to do sales because they already know who you are. Believe me, it's a lot harder to talk to strangers on the internet who have no idea who you are, no idea what your credibility is, and try to convince them to pay money for your stuff. That is a lot harder, and that's why ads is a whole different game. But for a warm audience, it's way different. You're talking to people who already know you and have that established trust. And all you're doing is giving them an opportunity to change their life. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Worst case scenario, if you get totally frozen at any one of these steps, then do the fear processing exercise. This is literally what I did before I started to do my outreach. It was Monday morning, I had my plan, my 3-day launch window, all my scripts were ready to go, and I got to my computer and I was like, literally, I was like so panicky and shuffling around and it was just hilarious to think about it in hindsight. But I could tell that my energy was not good and that I was flustered. So I went back to the tools. I went back and did what I know best, which is if you're triggered or upset, go do the fear processing exercise. And that's what I did. And literally after I did it, I felt good, calm, confident, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna give this a shot. And here's the thing, worst case scenario, if literally nobody signed up for my class, I learned more from doing that outreach than I learned in probably the last year and a half of doing business. Because there's something about literally talking to people you know, selling your offer in a way that's full of integrity, compelling information, and engagement that is just so satisfying. And sometimes you just gotta go out in the world and talk to people, you know? But by doing that, you actually gain practice and confidence so that it becomes easier and easier to do over time. Fortunately, I was very pleased to see that people actually did sign up for my online course. And after I ran the whole thing, it was so incredibly satisfying. I absolutely loved it. And so did all of my students. So what's the worst that could happen? If no one signs up, then you're still gonna learn so much about doing this launch and outreach process than if you had done nothing at all. But hopefully you will actually get people who will sign up and pay for your online course or your offer, whatever it may be. And then people start to actually buy it. So imagine this, your one-pager is live, your 5 announcements are drafted, and your warm list is ready to go. And it's day 1. Your cart opens, your DMs go out with love, and that's the key. It's all about connection. And then you give a 6-hour update. You talk about how many seats are available, drop some bonuses, maybe even some testimonials if you have them. Day 2, you warm up with some more testimonials. You show what's inside and give another bonus to help incentivize folks to take your class. At the end of day 2, you give that 24 hours notice. Only 1 day left and final pings. And now it's day 3. You're sold out. In fact, you could even draft a wait list. And here's the thing, I did all of this without paid ads. All you need is rhythm, warmth, and a clear plan. So again, remember this, launch makes the waves. It's the signal for what you're offering and you're telling the world that you have something for sale. The outreach is what catches the buyers. This is what you're going to do and follow up with people and have a real established human connection and tell them about what you're offering. You gotta keep it short, 72 hours, humanize it. In other words, personalize your messages when you're reaching out to people, and then keep it consistent. 6 hours after you open, 24 hours left, sold out, sign up for the wait list. Remember to stack your bonuses, give extra value as people are interested in potentially buying your course that will hopefully push them over the edge and actually buy if they haven't already, but also track your inputs. Track how many messages you're sending, who you're sending them to, what you've sent, and then you'll start to see patterns. That's the play. That's how I did it. It seemed to work. If this video helped, hit that like button so that other creators can see it. And if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch my video today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!